Ease, we're all about calculating the best high for you. Ran out of shows to watch for the second time this week? Order an indica pre-roll. Social distance park hang? Pair that awkward picnic with a vaporizer. See, we're like your weed guy, but 420% nerdier. So just worry about when you're going to take that edible and let us do the rest. Ease, highly calculated cannabis delivery. Get 30% off your first order with promo code NERD at ease.com. That's EAZE.com.
I work as an EMT in Los Angeles. My coworkers actually got me into vaping. During this pandemic, I've seen how strained the medical system is firsthand. One bed at a hospital is so valuable, and I would not want to be there when it can help out someone else. This is like the time to quit.
No matter how many times you've tried, now is the time to quit for good. Call the California Smokers Helpline today at 1-800-NEW-START.
Oh, what is up, everybody? So, our first ever live broadcast. A little bit different, but pretty much the same for me, considering I'm used to just doing it off the cuff anyway. So, hopefully you're over at the Facebook page. We're going to be live over there as well, and we will be fielding your questions tonight in this first Ask Me Anything session. So, hopefully there will be some questions to answer from you folks, and hopefully we'll find this to be something that's useful, right, moving forward. We'll add it to the rotation like I was talking about, so we'll see what's up, right? That's all we can do. See if folks dig it. Hopefully you folks find it useful, right? That's the most important thing. At the end of the day, the most important thing is that the content is useful. So not only are we rocking here on the podcast, but if you go over to the Facebook page, you'd see my ugly mug as well. I have the live video going right now, and hopefully this video stuff works out. I'm not too used to the whole video thing, as you all know. Pretty much podcasting is where it's at for me, but we're going to switch it up. I've been meaning to get to some stuff like this anyway, as far as video goes, so yeah, I figure this is the perfect way to kick things into gear. Alright, so let's get a thread going on the Facebook page, shall we? Let's see. We'll do an alright, so there is a thread up now as well. And you can also, obviously, in the video, you could ask some questions there as well. And I'll try not to be too much of a moron and be able to multitask. We'll see how that goes. But it's been a crazy ride, folks. Like, a real crazy ride. I never really expected to have, like, a situation where anybody would want to sit here and BS with me in the first place, right? I figured this podcast would just be something that me and, some family members or some friends would be into. But once we started and it started resonating, it was insane. Like, I couldn't believe how well it was received and how many people were supportive of the message and how many people what it really was how many people were mad about what was going on. Brian, go. So, there's so many people that are pissed off about this, right? And I figured that with all of the government corruption and the way that I have seen the government treat normal people, right? People that I care about, people I love, people I know, I was like, I gotta see what's going on here. So when I dug into this case, boy, and I seen all that corruption, woo! I'll tell you what. What's up, Rob? Angela? What's going on, everybody? Good to see you folks here. Rob, been riding with this podcast from day one. Long time. I mean, one of the first people to send me emails pretty much was Rob. And Angela, forget it. On Twitter, always all kinds of great research, all kinds of great links. And all of you guys, without you folks, really, that's the engine that's driving this whole entire thing is you guys, right? Me or any other content creator, they can only create, content. But if you folks aren't out there and pushing the message and going hard in the paint and advancing the narrative, then what's the point, right? And that's all on you guys, not us. I'm just some idiot with a big mouth. And, there's other people that are covering the case that are real journalists. That's not me. I'll never even fake the funk. I wouldn't even want to be considered a journalist at this point, to be honest with you. That's how disgusted I am by the whole entire profession, right? So I'm just, a guy with some opinions and a dude that's cutting through the bullshit, just like the rest of you. Just a normal person like the rest of you. And I think that's what's resonated, right? And people like Rob have, literally, since this podcast was getting 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 downloads, people like Rob have been writing. And Hillary and Angela. It's just crazy. And you folks are honestly just the motivation to grind every single day. Who am I taking to New Mexico on the next trip? I'm not taking anyone per se, but whoever wants to meet up with me when I go there, I will be there for sure. I'm going to be staying in Santa Fe, and it'll probably be, I'm looking at February 24th again, the same exact dates as last time, 24th through like the 28th or so. But with this pandemic, it's hard to lock something down, lock something in, right? So whoever wants to roll, if any of you want to meet up down there, I am. Oh, who am I talking to? I have a couple of sources down there. One was a source in law enforcement who is retired now because of how corrupt things were down there. I have a source that worked at multiple airports that saw the deal. And I have a source, believe it or not, that worked for a catering company who supplied a bunch of food to a bunch of events at places like the Santa Fe Institute and elsewhere. And I'm working on another source right now, but people are still a little non-receptive to the dealio, right? People are a little nervous still to talk. So it's a kind of like you gotta really be careful how hard you push people, right? Again, I'm not a politician, so I'm not a journalist, so I'm not going to really push people the way some other people would, but yeah, so that's where I'm at in New Mexico as far as sources. And I've had a lot of other people email me from New Mexico, but I just don't, unlike some other folks, if I can't really vet something, I'm not going to come on here and pump that shit to you guys like it's the truth, right? Like it's gospel, because that's not the deal. That's one of the main reasons I started getting involved in this anyway, is because the journalism was so shisty. So, I don't, I only have the sources that I have, and I'll tell you what though, it's getting a bit dicey for these people, that's for sure. Oh, I'd love to go to the Virgin Islands, Angela. Chad, for sure, bro. That would be the lick. I can't even lie. There might be some sitting on the beach involved if I head down to the Virgin Islands as well. But there's a story to be told there too. Like we don't know half the story yet, right? Half the story. These journalists, they're only interested in scratching the surface. They're not interested in digging deep, right? They don't want to out their friends. So there's definitely a story in the Virgin Islands. That's someplace I would definitely love to go. Obviously, when I'm in New York, I will be going to Epstein's mansion. So I'll be in New York for that whole entire trial, however long it takes. I'm staying with my family while I'm there. So I'll definitely be at that mansion too. So eventually, Virgin Islands would be great, right? This stupid pandemic is really getting in the way of a lot of things, and hopefully they can kind of figure something out, right? A happy balance so we can get back to handling our lives and doing what we got to do. But I don't know. All I can tell you is this. The second that I am able to go to a place like that, it is definitely on my list. It's on my radar. And at this point, I'm pretty much just focused on this case all the time. This is pretty much all I do at this point. So if the opportunity does arise, for sure, I will definitely head to the Virgin Islands and see what I can uncover down there. But people are real tight-lipped, folks. You know how it goes. There's some real dangerous people. Now, the rug's been pulled out from under them, but Oh, there's no doubt, Deirdre, big-time shysters. What's up, Candace? Welcome to the party. So it's Rob, it's going to be a wild trial, bro. You know how it goes with these people, and we can't go to sleep because Preska and Nathan have done a good job so far, right? There's a history and a pattern so far in this case that makes it so it's hard to trust the authorities. So we have to be vigilant, but at the same time, we can't just be a wild mob like some people want to be. Like, I see some comments on Twitter from some people, and it's like, all right, I get it. I'm mad too, and I want to storm the castle, but we got to storm the right castles, right? We got to make sure that anger is focused and it's directed at the right people. So we just got to keep these people on their toes, and they have to remember that they work for us. I know that sounds like a cliche, but it's really the only power we hold over them, right? So I don't know. I just think that it's very important that we make sure that these people are accountable. And I think really it starts with the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, right? If they can overturn this non-prosecution agreement, that'll go a long way to starting to set the table and make things right. What's up, Australia? God, I love Australia. Yeah, Chad, for sure. I could definitely do an episode on her brothers. There's no doubt, especially now that it's coming out that they're trying to pony up some dough for her bail, so that definitely will tie in nice. What's up, Danny? Let's see. I'm holding up well, Danny. Thanks, man. Things are, a little rough, right? Vegas we're getting thwacked here. There's no doubt about that. But I'm doing okay, and I've been able to, maintain and keep my head above water. I'm like a utility knife, like a Swiss Army knife, bro. I keep it rolling, The big fish eat the little fish. The waves keep on crashing, and me, I just keep on swimming, my dude. But thankfully, we have a 2-income home, and the love of my life is a personal trainer. And thankfully, they have not closed her gym down. So she has her job. The advertisements from the podcast bring in a little bit of money. And then, of course, I have, my hustles, my market play, and, sports gambling, handicapping, and stuff like that. But mainly, I'm able to focus on this case because I have a very, 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 very supportive girlfriend. And she is going to, she's actually going to join me over on Jen and Lisa's podcast at some point and talk about the Real Housewives. She loves that stuff. She dies for it. And I can't even lie, I'm hooked too. I'm coming out of the closet. I'm a big fan of reality TV, folks. Hey, thanks, Candace. I appreciate you. And the NPA, I'm not too sure. Probably the holidays. That would probably be my guess, that there's, a situation with the holidays that they have not really put anything on the docket. That would be my guess, but I don't know for sure. So not positive, too positive there. Yeah, so it's it's the type of situation with that NPA where I honestly don't even know what to say at this point. You would think that anybody who would have seen that NPA, as far as like a judge or whatever, would look at it and be like, are you kidding me? How could this possibly have been allowed, been put into place? But it was. And it is, and I really, 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 really hope that these people, they fix it. They fix their wrong. Oh, for sure. Without Carrie, I'd be toast. I mean, she really grounds me, and she taught me how to be empathetic, right? When I met Carrie, I was just leaving Cantor Fitzgerald and the gaming world. So, like, I was a pretty selfish person my whole life. I'll be straight up honest with you guys. I've been about me, trying to get my piece and build my little empire. But when I met her, everything changed. And then she got sick, and I truly got to see what it was like to see other people suffer when she was going through her treatment, as far as going to the cancer place and stuff like that. It was really eye-opening, and I don't know, it really changed me. So you're 100% right. I can't even imagine not having Carrie in my life. No, I can't even imagine for a second. Steve Hoffenberg. You know what? I really don't know Steve Hoffenberg, to be honest with you. He's reached out to me on the podcast and via email, and I spoke to him a little bit behind the scenes there. But I'm not, you guys know how I am about having people on the podcast. I'm very hesitant about inviting people onto the podcast. I feel like I have a duty to you folks to make sure whoever I bring on is, somebody that's legitimate and somebody who is not the same kind of person that I'm sitting here dogging on a regular basis. That's why I brought on Dr. Stephen DeLay, and I'm sure you all remember him and his episode. And that's the kind of person I'd like to have on the podcast to chat with us about this, right? And I don't know Steve Hoffenberg one way or the other. He's probably a good man. I don't know. But I just don't want to, I'm trying not to muddy the waters here on my podcast too much. And I'm trying to stick to the format that we've had from the jump, where we use articles from the newspaper and we follow that content. Hey, thanks, Angela. Look, again, I'm just trying to shoot you guys straight, right? The way I do this is I talk to you folks the same way I would my boys out in the backyard, right? If we were sitting out in the backyard right now having a session, I'd be shooting them the same way I'm shooting you. And that's the way I try to carry myself here. And I think that it's very important that we're real. And that I'm not trying to sell you guys something or BSing with you guys. Do I think anyone's trying to shut down my content? I don't think so, but who knows, right? Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? I can tell you this for sure. Nobody has ever sent me any funky emails or threatening emails or tried to step incorrectly to me. It'll be met with severe sarcasm if they do. I can promise you that, and I'll put them on blast on the podcast. That's for sure. Oh, at this point, I think it would take an act of God, right, for Prince Andrew to end up like Brunel. The dude's not going to leave England. They're not going to arrest him. So I don't know how they could force the issue at this point, but I think that he deserves here's the thing with Andrew, right? I think that at the very least, this guy needs to be talking to. He needs to be spoken to. He needs to be brought down and put under oath, and everything needs to be locked and loaded. Because if not, it leads us to other places, right? There's too many questions then. And in a case where there's so many questions, we have to get rid of that. As many questions that we can tie up, we have to do that. And he's the one who came out with his big, fat, stupid mouth talking about how, I'll help all the authorities that are present. I just got to wear the right kit. He was the one who said that shit. Nobody, it wasn't us who were like, all right, Andrew, we think that this is what... No, he said it. He should be an honorable man. He should do what he said he was going to do and speak to all the authorities. But he won't. And it'll have to be a forced issue. Maybe when the Queen passes away, I know that's a sore subject with some people. And like I always say, I'm not someone that's going to, pull a hit job on the monarchy. I don't know enough about it to do that. But when the Queen passes away, I know that his brother doesn't like him very much. So maybe his brother will lock his ass up in that Tower of London and be done with the whole entire thing. That's probably the best outcome, right? Yeah, right? No doubt about it. They definitely are evil, huh, Candace? What in the hell is wrong with those people? Uncle Jeffy? Let's have Jeffrey Epstein over for Thanksgiving. That's a great idea. Oh, Michelle, what's up? Nice to see you too. Glad to have you aboard. Glad you're joining us tonight. Surya, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Yes, I think that the Core 4 will be the next to be arrested. In what order? I'm not sure. I would think that Sarah Kellen Vickers would probably be a safe bet to be arrested very soon. And then it's anyone's guess after that. But the Core 4 are in imminent danger at this point, especially after Brunel has been arrested, Ghislaine Maxwell's arrested, and we see the fallout and how radioactive all of these people are because of their ties to Epstein. So the writing is on the wall for these people. Yeah, the two-tier justice system is it's just ridiculous. I don't understand it either. You have all of these people that run around and they act like they could just do whatever they want. And I'm not just talking about Epstein. I'm talking about all of these people, these so-called elites. Just look at the Bush administration to veer off course for a minute. It's an administration populated by war criminals. And yet not one person has ever been held to account for that lie, for that gaslighting. And they just continue to get away with whatever they want to get away with. And up until now, they've had a free pass. But they locked us in our houses, and they made a big mistake when they did that, in my opinion. Yeah, you know, Rob, I've never bought the John Mark Dugan stuff, bro. And as far as Sean Atwood goes, I don't have any problems with the guy. You know, I respect that he was nice to Maria. That's definitely something I respect, and I appreciate that. But as far as John Mark Dugan, I've never bought that shit. You notice I've never talked about it on the podcast. I never had an episode about it. I couldn't confirm it, right? If I can't chase something down myself, a lot of times I will leave it alone. Because it's not what I know, it's what I can prove, right? That's what you folks expect of me at this point. You don't expect me to come up here and be a fantasist, right? There's a lot of those. And if that's what people want to listen to, and if that's what people are buying and they want to stuff their confirmation bias, then that's cool. Look, I don't hate on anybody, any content creator or anyone, trying to expose the case. Look, everyone's hustle is their own. That's not what I'm here for. You folks know I'm not here for any kind of nonsense on Twitter. I'm not here to go back and forth with anybody. That's just not how I'm made. That's not my makeup. But as far as Dugan, Rob, yeah, no, I never bought it, bro. I never bought it. I don't think he has any tapes. And if he does, what are you waiting for, bro? What are you waiting for? Give the tapes to the authorities. Let's get this show on the road. I've spent over a year now, every single day of my life, covering this shit. So if you got the tapes, let's get them out there so we can all move on, right? Yeah, I just don't buy it. I never have. And as the other people, the other content creators that had him on and all of that, hey, look, a lot of that follows their format. A lot of those folks deal in that sort of realm, the conspiracy realm or borderline conspiracy realm. I feel like where we're at here on this podcast is we've passed that. This is the cover-up we're dealing with now. We're unraveling an intercontinental cover-up, folks. One on a grand, epic scale. And that's not hyperbole when I say that either. It's truly the case. I've never seen anything like this, with so many powerful people involved. But yet, here we are. We find ourselves in a position where these people might truly be facing consequences. And I think that says a lot, again, about you folks and how hard-charging you've all been and how supportive you've been and how quickly you've been to keep the case alive when a lot of people want it dead. Yeah, right, exactly. If you got the tapes, right, Candace, show us them tapes. What are you waiting for, bro? See, one thing I don't like is people who are trying to profit on this shit. Now, I'm not talking about like writing a book or anything like that. That's cool. I think people should do that. That's part of it, right? Your hard work, you should document it. You should write a book. But I'm not here to sell you folks anything, or I don't have the time for any of that shit, really. I'm here because this is just a great injustice, like on an epic cosmic effing scale, right? So that's the reason I'm so pissed off. And the fact that my loved ones did 5-6 years for something nowhere near as bad as this. They took some of the best years of that person's life away from me. And I'll never get those years back. But Jeffrey Epstein, this dude, he gets 13 months. It just makes me mad. And now, again, that was one of the key motivators to get me going. You know what, Hillary? I just got the documentation. I haven't even really looked at any of the new articles today. After we get done here, I'm going to dive into some articles and maybe drop another episode tonight. We'll see. So I'll have to get back to you on that. Yeah, Rob. there was some talk about that with Kellen. We definitely covered that. I can't remember exactly which girl it was. Unfortunately, this is so disgusting. It makes me sick to even say. But there's so many, right? There's so many girls who were abused by this guy that it's really hard to keep track of all of the different cases of abuse. So yeah, it's a they could definitely wrap up the charges on Kellen. There's no doubt. I think that there's going to be multiple ways that they could go after her, multiple routes that they could use. And one thing that I think is very going to come down to be very important is the Darren Indyke angle and his structuring and the fact that he was caught doing it. And I talked about that in the update the other day, yesterday, I believe. And it was that's something that they can use against him and get him to talk. So I would not be shocked to see Indyke rolling over and at some point us hearing that he turned state's evidence. Because remember, he wasn't involved in the abuse, right? So if you're going to cut anybody a deal, if anybody is going to roll anybody, if anybody is going to get a couple of years shaved off, it's going to be people that were involved in the financial angle of this, in my opinion. But it all depends on what he can provide, right? If he doesn't have anything that makes the prosecution ready to eat, then they'll just discard him and keep it moving. She certainly did apply to the Victims Fund. There's no doubt about it. You're 100% right about that, Pop. As far as being accepted, I haven't heard if she has been accepted one way or the other. I think it would be an ultimate slap in the face if she was to the survivors, right? They shouldn't have to split their money and chop it up with somebody like that. No doubt about that. Yeah, look. Yeah, Angela, for sure. Indyke definitely has all the goods. He has all the skeletons in the closet. But if they're going to make a deal with somebody, in my opinion, as disgusting as it is, I would hope that it would be with somebody like him as opposed to somebody who was actually abusing the girls, right? I want Indyke to get time, but I think he's going to end up flipping, and instead of getting, say, 50 or 60, he'll probably be looking at 20 with a possibility of parole after served 10 or 15. Probably something like that would be my guess. Because he is certainly wrapped up in RICO. Oh, he's the king of it. His name's all over all those checks. His name's all over those shell companies. His name's all over those slush funds. He was trying to pay girls off. This is exactly what RICO was made for, this exact thing. Because he was doing it on behalf of his boss, Jeffrey Epstein. So now they're part of a criminal conspiracy, and that's exactly what RICO was created for, to go after the guys at the top of these criminal enterprises. So definitely, Indyke is in imminent danger as well. Yeah, I get it. I don't disagree with you, but man, I'll tell you, these people they're going to see their day, Angela. I have no doubt about it. I know it's a long road, and it's sometimes it's frustrating for us to wait on justice, and we want it to happen right away. We want it now. We want these people to be imprisoned because the evidence is there and we all know it. But I think when all is said and done and that train comes barreling down the track through the tunnel, all of these people are going to end up getting what's coming to them. And any prison time for these people at this point is going to be a brutal situation for them, right? We know that they're not built for this. They're not built for prison. We've seen the way Ghislaine Maxwell has acted, like she's in some sort of gulag in Stalin Russia. But we know that's not the case. We know that regular people are treated way worse than she's being treated. Imagine being on the main line. At least she's by herself. Oh, hell, Anna Maria, 100%. Wouldn't that be a great way to kick off the year? I mean, I said that 2020 would be the year that the predators become the prey, and it certainly is the case, isn't it? We have the narrative has been changed. These people are on the run, and, there is serious repercussions for a lot of the enablers even. Now, my question is really the one thing, the burning question that I have is, when is it going to be Bill Clinton's turn? When is Bill Clinton going to face the same kind of scrutiny that brought the dogs onto Acosta, first of all, and then Andrew? Because they all deserve it, right? Every last one of them. Every last one of these people that enable Jeffrey Epstein deserves to be completely outed. Yeah, Indike.
Hi, you've reached Toyota. This is Jan.
Can I save on a new Toyota?
Yes, with great deals through March 31st at participating dealers.
I'm really into mystery podcasts lately for those long drives.
Well, imagine yourself in a Camry when a celebrity sleuth solves the perfect crime. Or camping in a RAV4 when a shocking theft turns a city on its head. Or off-roading in a Tacoma when trouble follows a big city cop to the country. Spoiler alert, it was the butler.
Toyota, let's go places.
Rogue Nicotine on demand. Delivered direct to your door. Available in all your favorite flavors and formats. Pouches, gum, wintergreen, peppermint, and more. From your Monday morning coffee to watching hoops to dinner at the in-laws, Rogue Nicotine is there for you when you need it. Visit roguenicotine.com today and save 10% when you place your order for sugar-free, fast-acting Rogue Nicotine. Underage sales prohibited. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. For more information, visit roguenicotine.com.
Is still the executor, Pop. I don't know how that's the case, but here we are. Indike is the executor of this estate still. Like I'm apt to say, though, he should be a guest of the state instead of the executor of the estate. This dude should be in cuffs and bracelets, and it's obvious he was involved in, at the very least, racketeering as far as money laundering and all of that stuff. It's very obvious. So even if they don't have nothing with him on Epstein, which they do, I'm sure, they could get him with that stuff alone. Absolutely. Look, I'm not somebody who's usually into this kind of stuff, these kinds of cases. Until this case, it's something that was not something I even was really paying attention to, unfortunately. But there is just such a great, great injustice that has been done here that it made me reevaluate all of it. And I had to take a real hard look around at all of these people, the whole entire lot of these members of so-called elite society, so-called polite society. And when you pull that curtain back, it's disgusting. These people are all disgusting. I'm at the point where I look at anyone who's a billionaire skeptically now, that like they're disgusting. They have to prove that they're not. Probably not the best way to look at the world, right? And that's really cynical, but that's how I feel nowadays. Sonia, that's a good question. I am not too sure how that all works. I probably ditched those days in high school, to be honest with you, those science classes. And I don't watch too much NCIS or anything either, so I'm not too sure how long DNA is good for. But you would think that they would try, right? You would think that it would be a good idea to try and get some of that DNA from that plane. Oh yeah, Wexner's 100% wrapped up in this. Not even a question. The dude's disgusting. He tries to walk around like he's a doddering old fool, but we all know the deal. We know that he was the CEO of that company for 60 years. The dude's well with it. He wasn't stupid, and he knows the deal with Epstein. He knew that he was giving the keys to the car to an animal. Damn right, Kamantha. He definitely should be arrested. He definitely should be brought in for questioning. That's a serious allegation that was made against him, right? Definitely. And you're right, Angela, they probably won't. I've said that a lot. I've been on record saying that. He's one of those guys that if you want to get him, it's going to be a financial deal. The only way you're going to get Wexner is going to be financially, in my opinion. And even then, it's going to be a tough road to hoe. They have to really build that case, and they have to have forensic accountants who don't give an F, who are just going to go hard in the paint and not look at the name and go after the crimes. The question is, do they have that kind of steel in their backbone? I guess we'll see. Yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell and She should definitely be charged in France and UK, in my opinion. And I think that France was looking into her as well. I believe that's the case. So she definitely should be charged. As far as Dershowitz, who knows? That guy's he's off the handle. The guy's a maniac. I know him and Geraldo Riviera were having a cry fest when Ghislaine Maxwell was denied bail, and Jana Spilbor as well was having a big cry fest. She had an article in Newsmax where she was decrying the fact that Maxwell didn't get bailed out. So we're going to have to read that article on air, and I'm going to eviscerate her because it's absolutely ridiculous. She's part of the problem, right? She wants the system to stay exactly how it is, how it was. I don't want to just, break a spoke. I want the whole wheel broke. I want the whole entire Department of Justice reformed. I want it audited, and I want it to be what it was meant to be. Equal justice under the law. Is that too much to ask? I mean, am I going too far by asking them to do their jobs? Because they sure have no problem making sure that we all do the right thing, right? They have no problem arresting you. They have no problem making sure you pay your taxes. But God forbid they do their jobs. So, who knows at the end of the day what the deal will be. I would think so, Rob. I would think that a grand jury would indict him over that sort of testimony. You know what they say, a grand jury would indict a ham sandwich. So I would really, really, really think that if that evidence was presented to a grand jury, that they would be all over it, that they would be 100% locked and loaded and ready to indict him. And maybe they have. Maybe there's a sealed indictment that we don't know about. Remember, there's a ton of sealed indictments in the system, and we'll never know about them until they're ready to unseal them and take the case public. Once they decide that they're going to prosecute the case, it has to be public. So, we'll see. We'll see where it goes, and I really, truly believe that there are more sealed indictments, and guys like Dubin, I don't think, are as insulated as Wexner. Dubin is powerful, he's rich, but Wexner's on a different level. He comes from a different generation, and he is entrenched in not only the American magnate financial sector system of the world, but he is a fixture as far as globally. So he's going to be a real tough nut to crack for sure. I wish I had some better news about Wexner, but I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe he will, right? You know that Jean-Luc Brunel is not enjoying whatever the French equivalent of bologna sandwiches are. That dude is definitely not enjoying it. He's definitely ready to rat. And if I was the French, I would turn him over to the Americans. And I would let the FBI go to town on him. Because he's the kind of guy that the FBI would love to get into a room, right? He's not a royal. He's not really a politician. So he's the type of dude that they feel like they could totally shit on his rights and nobody will care. And the FBI loves to do that. So I would really love to see Jean-Luc Brunel have to speak with American authorities, even if it was on French soil. Oh no, that evidence is going to be used, I think, Pop. I think the days of this case being covered up by the FBI and the handlers in intelligence are over. What happens with people like Maxwell and Epstein, after their time is done, they're burned, right? They're assets. They're not your traditional spies. They're what you call assets. And once they're burned, well, all ties to them are burned. Everything that they have ever done as far as working with intelligence or the government or the FBI, that's burned. And nobody will ever admit to it, right? So that's exactly what happened with them. And at this point, they're left swinging in the wind. They're left to their own devices. There's no more protection coming from whoever their handlers were at the CIA or the Mossad or elsewhere. And after all these years now, the connections, I think, the ties that connect these other people to all of this have been destroyed probably. But right now, what's going on in the case, I don't think that's going on now. No, not at all. Nope. Yeah, right. Anna, it's one of those situations where you think with Jean-Luc Brunel, he has to be interrogated and in a forceful manner. There's no more time to pussyfoot around with these people, right? It's time to really make sure that these people are paying the price. That's a good question, Rob. The house has not been demolished yet, but I know that it's been gutted. So that's a good question as far as the wiring and the AV. I am not too sure about any of that stuff at all. I know that there was evidence taken from that house several times during different raids. And I know that the FBI has to be in possession of that evidence, or you would think that they're in possession of that evidence. But like I said, the first time around, there was all kinds of screwbaggery going on with the government's handling of this case. There's no doubt about that. So who knows what evidence was burned or lost? I mean, all you have to do is look at the Acosta emails to give you an idea that you're on the right track, right? That you're not sniffing in the wrong place. These people willfully lost information. These people willfully have been lying to us, and especially to the survivors throughout this whole thing. You had the video footage from Epstein's cell. The camera was pointed in the wrong place. Really? One of the most high-profile inmates in the whole joint, and it's pointed at the wrong place. I don't buy it. I'm sorry, but I don't buy it. And it's a very hard sell for me. As far as the other AV stuff, like the wiring and all of that, you would think that when they gutted it, they probably would sell that stuff off. I would think that they're long gone, Anna. I would think that anything during the raids the first time around are long gone, as far as whatever the co-conspirators took out of the houses. Those houses, when they were raided, they should have been seized as well. Jean-Luc Brunel should have been staying at Jeffrey Epstein's Palm Beach mansion while Epstein was in the Huskow. These people should have been coming and going as they please. If this was a normal person, if I was selling drugs, they would have seized my house and thrown my family out in the street. But Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirators still have the run of the mansion, the run of the keep. It's a bunch of BS. No doubt about it. Look, if I had the means, I would buy one of those. Rent one of those planes that has the radar that they do over as they're flying, that they use like in the rainforest and stuff to look for old civilizations. I forget what it's called, like Liger or something. And you can map it from flying above it and see what's going on. I'd be doing that over his properties too. I can't put into words the vastness of Zorro Ranch and the drive from Santa Fe to Zorro Ranch, how empty and desolate it is for some stretches. So who knows what was going on that property? Who the hell knows? I'm not going to sit here and say for certain that there was wild stuff going on, but I don't know that there wasn't. And one thing I have learned in this case is I don't ever just turn the page until I truly have dug deep and I've found the answers I'm looking for. Because every time you think that you know what's going on in this case, you're thrown a huge curveball. So who the hell knows? No, unfortunately, I don't think you could. Maybe you could, right? I don't know. It's a guaranteed trespass charge, though, for sure, if they catch you. But it's a vast property, and I don't really even think you would need to get on the property. Tell you the truth, you could pull right up to the front like I did. And next time I'm bringing a drone, when I go in February, it's on already. I'm bringing a drone, and I'm going to let that mother effer rip above that property and fly all the way above that property as far as I can get it to go and see what we find out then. Because there is a huge story to be told in New Mexico, and I feel it in my gut, right? I feel it in my gut. And so far in this case, when I've had a feeling like this, I really haven't been wrong too often. So, hey, what's up, Joy? Yeah, I really don't think that there's any FAA rules over Zorro Ranch that would keep me from flying a drone over the property. And I do have access to a drone this time around. So I'm definitely going to bring it this time, and we're going to see what's up. We're definitely going to see what's up, and hopefully we'll get some good footage, right? And hopefully I don't crash the damn thing in my my ignorance of how to use it. So I'll be taking it out before then. So you guys get some test runs of it when I'm hiking. I'll be taking it with me up to Red Rock to get some footage and to get comfortable with it. So definitely bringing that bad boy with me. No doubt about it. February. And look, all I could do is go down there and do my best to try and figure out what we can figure out, right? None of these so-called journalists want to do it. They can't be bothered. They're too busy doing whatever it is they're doing, making you hate your neighbor, have the pitchforks fight the torches. They're busy doing that shit. So it's up to people like me, I guess, to pursue this story. And again, thankfully, I have such a supportive significant other, because some harebrained wild ideas I have, folks. Let me tell you, I'm the kind of person that I immerse myself in things. So when it comes to this case, I spend countless hours preparing myself for,
At Ease, we're all about calculating the best high for you. Ran out of shows to watch for the second time this week? Order an indica pre-roll. Social distance park hang? Pair that awkward picnic with a vaporizer. See, we're like your weed guy, but 420% nerdier. So just worry about when you're going to take that edible and let us do the rest. Ease, highly calculated cannabis delivery. Get 30% off your first order with promo code NERD at ease.com. That's EAZE.com.
The episodes, digging through articles, archiving articles, reading follow-up articles, because I want to make sure that we're all on the same page and that we're going down the right path, right? And that's why I choose to use the format that I use, because I believe it's the only way to really tell the whole story, right? And it's right there. It's for black and white. You can all follow along and read the articles. And really, it just comes down to your opinions too, right? What we're trying to do is read between the lines. All of us know one thing for sure. We have not been shot straight by the legacy media about this story. We have not been told the truth. The survivors have been treated like shit. The FBI has continuously done whatever the hell they want to do. And we've been left holding the bag, footing the bill for all of it. I've had enough. No, I don't want to be part of it anymore. I don't want my tax dollars used for it anymore. And I certainly don't want the politicians that I elect putting bills in place that allow this shit to happen. So, like I said on the podcast, for me, I'm not voting any of these incumbents back to Washington ever, unless it's somebody that does an incredible job. It would depend. If it was a federal investigation, Rob, it would be the federal government who would do it. But they don't. The state prosecutor doesn't have to wait for that. The state prosecutor could open a state case and go after them and push state charges. And the feds could run their case concurrently, and they could work together to bring these people to justice. But they have no interest of doing that down in New Mexico. And when I was down there, I sent numerous emails and called the prosecutor's office, and no answer, no comment for me. Now, granted, when I went there in February, my podcast was not very big and probably had no time to talk to somebody who had a podcast with 25,000 downloads. So I get it, but I've still been emailing and still no answers from these people. But they could have a raid going or an investigation. The feds could have one, and they could work together and finally raid Zorro Ranch. There's no reason for that place not to be raided. I honestly, I have no idea how it hasn't been, and I don't understand it. Hey, Karen, that would be something, right? If Zorro Ranch did sell, then that would certainly be something. But I haven't seen anything about that. I'll have to dig a little bit deeper. I'll definitely see what I can find out about that. I will definitely see if I can find anything else about Zorro Ranch possibly being sold. And if it was, we'll definitely report on that, because it's a travesty that this place has not been raided yet. An absolute travesty. Yeah, right? Like it's the old days. Regulators, mount up. I'll tell you what, Rob. Honestly, it's to the point where we have to do something, right? I don't know about mounting up and vigilante justice. That's not my skis. But I'm not above going to the Department of Justice and protesting, and like they did Occupy Wall Street. I'll go sit in front of the Department of Justice at this point. That's how mad I am. I've never been somebody who's been take to the streets pissed, right? It's just never been in my DNA. But I'm at the point now where it's something has to be done about the Department of Justice. So we have to get it together as the pitchforks and the torches, the tribes, how they want everybody split up. So, yeah, hey, that's what they're saying here, Angela. I was not aware of that if it had sold. I had not heard that. Nobody has reported on that, and I don't ever really check Zillow, but hey, that's great information. Thank you. I'm going to dig into it. I wonder who bought it, and I wonder what's going to happen from here. Like I said, if I was the one who bought one of these properties, I'd invite the survivors to come and bust this shit out with some sledgehammers. I know it's not much, but hey, it's something, right? Go and help destroy the place where these scumbags abused you. I agree with that, Joy. It definitely needs to be picked apart inch by inch. There's a lot going on there. And where it's located, look, there's a lot of speculation for people to dig into, right? You have Los Al, you have the Santa Fe Institute. You have a lot of weird stuff in that area of New Mexico. And we all know that Jeffrey Epstein didn't just do things to do them. Yeah, look, it could be that, I know, right, Deirdre, it's crazy. I don't know how that works either. Like you, I would think that they would have to raid the place and law enforcement would have to come in and, like you said, use luminol, the whole nine. So it's pretty mind-boggling that none of that has occurred. And if you were if you bought this place, don't you think that you would offer it up for people to do that? Yeah, you know, Nicola, it's for me, it's just, I'm so invested at this point that there's no way that I could just drop this story and move on. Like, I don't know. That's not my makeup. That's not in my character. Once I am invested in something and once I feel like something is worthwhile, I see it through to the end, for better or for worse. And a lot of times it's been for worse for me, believe me. So I've just, I'm locked and loaded, and there's no way that I'm going to stop covering this case. And there's no way that we're going to ignore what occurred. And these people that were involved, all of them, not just the Costa types, but all of them, the ones who were making the decisions, giving the orders, they have to be held accountable too. It can't just be low-level bureaucrats. That can't be the case, because they're fall guys, right? They get fired and everybody moves on. We forget their names. But when you go after big game and you get yourself a trophy fish, well, you mount that on your wall. You don't forget that, right? Yeah, we definitely need to find out who the buyer is, Anna, 100%, because I think that could play into it. Who the hell bought it? Why would they buy it? You know, at least with Michael Glazer down in Palm Beach, we know that the guy's a legit developer. He's coming in there. He's buying that property. That property for him, that's a business deal for this dude. He's going to flip that property and make a ton of dough. A ton of dough. And who knows, that might be the same thing in New Mexico, but I think it's important that we find out who the buyer is for sure. Definitely a good point. Hey, nice to meet you too, Lori. Happy to have you rolling on board with us tonight. So Zorro is just, Zorro is the kind of place where there's a lot to be told. And when I was in Santa Fe, the people all knew the deal. The people all knew the deal in Santa Fe, like the people at the hotel. Oh yeah, we know Jeffrey Epstein. We know what's going on down there. I was like, are you kidding me? Average people know what's going on and the police aren't going crazy down here? That's a good question, Christina. I wish I knew. Honestly, I wish I knew. I have to think that the prosecution is waiting to unleash all of these unsealed indictments at once because they don't want the roaches scurrying away. And usually in a case like this, those people are picked up first and the Maxwells of the world are picked up after. But they've had so much time to build the case, right? They've built an amazing amount of evidence against Maxwell that they decapitated the head of the organization. And then, well, after that, now that all that's left is to pick up these lieutenants. And these lieutenants don't have the means, nowhere near the means that Maxwell has. So I would think that we would see them, being picked up very soon. But who knows where the prosecution is or what their strategy is right now. Yeah, look, a lot of it's not a story, right? And if it wasn't for the great work of a few investigative journalists and a few outlets that have kept this story alive, look, we got to give props to places like the Daily Mail, The Sun, Chris Spargo over at OK Magazine. Usually those are the kind of outlets you'll laugh at, but they've been spot on with this case. They've been spot on with this case, and they've done such good work. And it's crazy to even imagine that those kind of outlets would be holding the torch in this situation. But the legacy media has been so busy protecting these people that they hadn't had any interest in this case for quite some time. Now the winds are changing a little bit, right? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry has themselves a podcast now. Everybody has themselves a podcast now. All of these people who, were legacy media, now they're all worried about this case. Where were you for all of those years before there was a dollar to be made? Where were you all of those years where nobody was listening to these girls, where everybody was, cutting Epstein slack, where everybody was killing stories? Where were you all then? But now you guys have podcasts because the advertisers are diving in and they want to be involved. It's transparent to me, and that's why I don't even bother listening to most of those podcasts, hardly any of them, to be honest with you. Yeah, these journalists, they don't want that smoke, Christina. They don't want to come on my podcast. They don't want to get exposed for the clowns that they are for the most part. Look, when credit's due, I most certainly give it, right? But a lot of these clowns in the legacy media are only worried about getting in good with people like Wexner or Jean-Luc Brunel or Andrew. They want the story. That's all they care about. Where me, all I care about is the truth right now. That's it. Who do I follow for trusted Epstein Maxwell information? To tell you the truth, Joy, there's not really one person or persons. A lot of my information is, I get it by an exhaustive amount of reading of articles and police documents and going through what the survivors themselves have said. Right now, especially, I am very, 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 very cautious about what I let into my mind. I safeguard the information that comes into my head right now big time because there is so much BS out there. There's so much BS out there. So I try to be very cautious about who I'm listening to and who I trust about this case, especially because, like I said, there's a lot of hucksters, right? A lot of people that are out there grifting and selling you snake oil. I don't know why people do that, but here we are. Oh, hell yeah, Pop, I definitely do. Tartaglione and his family, his brothers, grew up with my dad and my uncles, like I said on the podcast. And my uncle was telling me about it. They used to call the brother Tat Tat. So I definitely think Tartaglione had a part to play in this. Now, I don't have evidence of that, right? But you don't have to be Nostradamus to forecast what occurred in that cell. Let's be real. You got a guy that's facing 4 murder charges, and you throw him in a cell with Jeffrey Epstein? How in the hell is that a rational idea? So yeah, I definitely think that Tartaglione, if he wasn't trying to kill him, maybe he was there to send a message that night. Who knows, right? I don't have direct evidence of that. That's my speculation and what I have deduced from my research into the case and from the information that has been available to us. That's funny, Anna. I bet you a bunch are going to report it because we all know that's the case, right? At the very least, it sure seems like that's the case. Rob, I've never bought into that the judge, her son was killed in conjunction with this case. I think that the person that killed her son was just a psycho, right? There's a lot of people like that. People, right now, folks, we're dealing with a lot of crazy people. A lot of really crazy people all over the place. And people are losing everything. And
Hi, you've reached Toyota. This is Jan.
Can I save on a new Toyota?
Yes, with great deals through March 31st at participating dealers.
I'm really into mystery podcasts lately for those long drives.
Well, imagine yourself in a Camry when a celebrity sleuth solves the perfect crime. Or camping in a RAV4 when a shocking theft turns a city on its head. Or off-roading in a Tacoma when trouble follows a big city cop to the country. Spoiler alert, it was the butler.
Toyota, let's go places.
Rogue Nicotine on Demand. Delivered direct to your door. Available in all your favorite flavors and formats. Pouches, gum, wintergreen, peppermint, and more. From your Monday morning coffee to watching hoops to dinner at the in-laws, Rogue Nicotine is there for you when you need it. Visit roguenicotine.com today and save 10% when you place your order for sugar-free, fast-acting Rogue Nicotine. Underage sales prohibited. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. For more information, visit roguenicotine.com.
Any grievance or slight that they perceive has been foisted upon them could result in crazy violence and anger and all kinds of other shit. So I think when people get down into the weeds with stuff like that and they start trying to toss out wild, unfounded stories about that situation and others, I think it's kind of dangerous because we got a lot of psychopaths we're dealing with right now in the world. So we got to really be careful what sort of, especially as content creators, what sort of information you're disseminating and what sort of messaging you're using. Because believe me, as you all know, there's not many people with more white-hot, indignant rage than me. But as I always say, we have to steer that rage in the right direction, right? We have to point it in the right direction. And the right direction, in my opinion, are the people who are in control of all this shit. The financial sector, the banksters, and their lapdog politicians. That's where we got to start. Because if you want to have rage and you want to direct it somewhere, that's where to direct it. I'm a big fan of emailing politicians as well and people involved in the case, 100%. But my strategy is to always be respectful, right? There's no need to be an unhinged lunatic. When you're sending emails to people or when you're contacting your local officials, don't be an unhinged lunatic. That makes you look like a wild person and nobody's going to want to talk to you. Put together a nice, detailed message. Couple paragraphs, a paragraph, get your point across. Give them a phone call, do the same thing. And that's all we can, that's what we can do. But really, our power is to hold them accountable. Our power is to hold them accountable at the ballot box every 4 years, every 2 years. And we have to get better at that for sure. 100% it's the Italian blood. No doubt, Anna. 100%. Sometimes I get in fits of rage and I can't help myself. Yeah, look, Ghislaine Maxwell is a very shrewd person. She is a very, very shrewd person. She's not stupid by any means. I think Epstein was a dumbass for sure, but I don't think that Ghislaine Maxwell was stupid by any means. She's smart. She's a smart person for sure. Very shrewd, manipulative, and cunning as hell. So she's out there making moves for sure, up to all kinds of wild shit. But Epstein was a dumbass, and he was manipulated this whole entire time, no doubt about it. Yeah, what's up, Yonkers? Stand up, YO. Look, don't get me wrong. I get unhinged with the best of them. I just think that in this situation, our best bet is we have to have focused rage here. Focused rage. And the only way that they're ever going to listen and things are going to change is if we just keep the message coming across and we keep bombarding them with it, because these people, man, these people that would be our overlords, our overseers, our modern day feudal rulers, they've been getting away with it forever. And what they did in the Epstein situation, how brazen it was. I mean, you mean to tell me you go to Jeffrey Epstein's house and you see all this artwork on the walls and you don't question what kind of man this is? What kind of sick son of a bitch this dude is? You walk in and there's a picture of Bill Clinton in a blue dress and some pumps, and you don't ask yourself, hey, what's going on here? I know if I walked into one of my friends' houses and that's the shit on the wall, I'm pulling old boy to the side and we're having a long talk. Dude, what's going on with the weird pictures of the kids and people in their underwear and shit? What are you, some kind of sicko, some kind of pervert? Save that shit for, your sessions alone in the bathroom at night or whatever the hell it is. Certainly don't have it draped all over your walls. And then this is a place that world leaders are going. Bill Clinton, Ehud Barak, Donald Trump, you name it. They're all going there. But nobody's wise to what hip to what's going on. I don't believe it. I think it's a bunch of BS. I think that all of these enablers, they knew the deal. They all knew the deal. They're all perverts. You're right, Anna. They're all sick. And they all believe that they should lord over all of us. That none of us matter. We're just air breathers to them. We just take up space. Money corrupts, absolutely. It sure does. That kind of money, those kind of billions and billions of dollars that we're talking about, 100% corrupt. 100%. I mean, I'm not against people being rich or earning money. I don't get into that stuff. That's, if you've earned your money and you're a smart guy or a woman and you got a great business, cool. But the obscene amount of money that these people have, and then the way they still shit on everybody else, and the way they use that money to manipulate things, I'm not cool with it. Hey, Siri, like I said, I just try to shoot you guys straight. I try to talk to you folks the same way I would to my friends in my backyard if we were outside having a session. I look at all of you as my friends at this point. We've been together now for over a year every single night. That means something to me. And you folks giving me your most precious commodity, your time, that means something to me. And I don't look at you guys as just a download, or at the end of the day, I really don't care about any of that shit. If my downloads were to go away tomorrow, I've accomplished enough here, right? I've accomplished a lot, and I could feel pleased with what I have done. But all of you folks that have been, rolling with me since the jump here on the podcast, it's insane. I feel like I owe it to you to make sure I shoot you as straight as possible. Vegas, it's rough in Vegas right now. There's no doubt. I have so many family and friends that work in live entertainment, and that's what I did for 11 years of my life. I worked as the stage manager of The Joint at the Hard Rock Hotel for 11 years of my life, and my father has been in this business forever. This is what he went to college for. This is what he does. He was an executive at the Venetian. He used to run the Pearl. He was an executive in the Bahamas. This isn't a job, right? This isn't a job. These are careers. And all of these careers were wiped out because the government decided to do what they did in reaction to the pandemic. And I'm not going to get into if it's right or wrong. I don't care. That's not my point. My point is these aren't just jobs that have been taken away. These are careers. People have worked their whole lives for this, went to college for this, killed themselves 16, 17, 18-hour days. And all of that was ripped out from underneath them. And then they're made to feel like pieces of shit because they're on unemployment. Or they're told by some stupid idiot, oh, go get a job at Walmart. For what? How's that going to make up and pick up the pieces of losing a $130,000 a year job? Stagehands are making $70,000 a year. So no amount of unemployment is going to make up for the dignity of being able to work. And that's what people in Vegas are facing right now. And it's a rough go. And I don't know how to dig out of that with no live entertainment, especially with more lockdowns. I don't have the answers for my loved ones and my friends, but I will tell you this. There are a lot of people that are on the verge of legit suicide. That's not hyperbole either. That's legit. They don't know what to do. How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? While Trump's out golfing and Nancy Pelosi's arguing about the stimulus and extended unemployment, real people are suffering. So I guess that's off topic, but that's the situation in Vegas right now. And the governor isn't helping out at all. So, anyway. Yeah, look, hey, Joy, there is a lot of bad stuff happening in the world, right? I'm just one person, though. And as much as I want to look into all of this other trafficking that's going on right now in the world, and I want to help bring light to it, I feel like I have so much on my plate with this Epstein case as it keeps growing and metastasizing that it's hard for me to dig into other stuff. Now, I try to keep aware of what's going on, right? I try to keep aware of, the stuff that's going on with Peter Nygard and, other things that are happening. But my focus right now is this Epstein case, and I want to see it through to its conclusion. Now, that said, after this is done, I'm not going anywhere, right? I'm not just going to drop off the face of the earth or just start talking about sports again or anything like that. I'm definitely in it for the long haul, and we'll continue to, dig. You mean Amy Robach? It would be nice if they would dig a little bit, right? It would be nice if these places with resources would use those resources to help in this case. But what happens is, and you see it all the time, one outlet will break a story in this case, then everybody piggybacks onto that one story, and they'll write their own version of it. So there's really, besides a handful of independent journalists and a handful of journalists, besides a handful of journalists, it's rough. Yeah, you're right about that, Corey. Look, at the end of the day, for me in this case, I have to have expectations that are real. And for me, those expectations are this. Maxwell in prison, Jean-Luc Brunel in prison, the Core Four in prison, and Indike and Khan in prison. I feel like everything after that is going to be tough to wrap our hands around, but I want that to be what occurs. I want those people to go to prison, and then Wexner's and those people, I think that if they go hard against them and they look into the financials, there's going to be enough. The question is, does the Department of Justice have the backbone? And I don't think they do. Oh, I'll tell you what, Angela, the Johnson family, if I reached out to the Johnson family, I would throttle them at this point. Do you know why? They own my football team, the Jets, and the Jets are absolutely terrible. And the Johnsons have ruined the Jets. So, yeah, I don't think I should reach out to the Johnsons anytime soon. Yeah, Karen, it is. It's heartbreaking. There's no doubt. It's just absolutely so sad. Just so sad. Carrie and I met 5 years ago. 5.5 years ago now. And I was wearing a SUU hat, a Southern Utah University hat. And her little cousin, or nephew, I mean, went to the school. So that was our conversation starter. And we were originally, the first night we met, we were going to go bowling. So we meet up and we were going to go bowling at this place called the South Point. And we go down there, blah, blah, blah. And it was packed. I mean, absolutely slam packed. So we're like, all right, no bowling. Forget it. We hop in our car and we end up at Dairy Queen. So we go to Dairy Queen, get some ice cream. And we hop in the car and drive out to Red Rock and sit in front of the mountains in the car. And we just started BSing. And from that day forward, we have been inseparable. There hasn't been a day in my life, literally since then, that I have not seen her or been with her. So it's been a crazy ride, honestly. And she's made me so much of a better person. I can't even begin to explain to you how much of a better person I am because of her. No more... look, let's just be real. I was a pretty wild cat, right? I've gotten, I grew up in the inner city. So I've lived my life a way that at times I'm not proud of, for sure. But Carrie has helped me reel all of that in and focus that rage into projects like this. Hey, you know what, Corey? I think there's a place for all of it and a discussion to be had at this point about all of it because the FBI is corrupt. They should be audited. They should be completely gutted, and new people should be brought in. And if you really want to stick it to these people, you know who should be in charge of all of the intelligence services? Julian Assange. Bring him in, install him as in charge of all of the intelligence services. And then you could bring in Edward Snowden and make him the head of the CIA. I think that would be fantastic. Because short of that at this point, we know we're getting screwed by no matter who comes in. What, we think Joe Biden's people are going to come in? They care about us? These are all people that are part of the CFR and shit. It's an absolute joke. I definitely will give Maria your love, no doubt about it. 100%. Maria is... She's strong as hell, man. Maria is a strong lady. And what occurred with her is just absolutely, it's unspeakable. It is unspeakable. And Maria and I have become friends more than just this, right? She'll always be my friend no matter what happens in this forever at this point. And, there's some vile ass people out there. There are some wild and vile ass people out there that have a whole lot of disgusting, deplorable shit to say. And the reason that they say that is, and talk like that, is because they could hide behind a computer. There's no retribution for what they say. There's no repercussions for what they say. Where I'm from, big mouths turn into black eyes. So I live like that even when I'm on the computer, right? I'm not... people are out here flossing and shit. Where I'm from, you act like that. There's real life consequences when you talk to people like that. So it's gross when you see people wild out like that and talk like that. But Maria's a strong lady. She knows the deal, and she understood when she came out what was going to be the case. Now, Maria first reached out to me in January, way before she went public with any of this, and her and I had like a 4-hour phone conversation. And we talked about all kinds of wild stuff. And if you remember, I was supposed to go to New Mexico in January. But Maria reached out to me, and that's why I moved my trip to February. Because I wanted to speak with her and get a little bit more information. So that's what happened. And I sat on all of that information that Maria and I talked about for months. And she went on Whitney's show and all those other shows because they had so much exposure. And that was she had to get her story out, right? But for me, it's more of a human thing with Maria. She's not just somebody in the paper. She's not just somebody who is being talked about in the news to me. She's she's a good person, and all this Epstein shit aside, she has cancer, bro. And I know how hard it is. Going through what Carrie and I went through, forget about it. Absolutely forget about it. It's hard as hell. And you have jerk-offs on the internet talking shit, trolls running their mouths saying just horrendous-ass garbage. So it's tough. And Maria, she's strong, though, and she's doing good. I'll definitely I'll let her know that everybody's wishing her well, and I'm sure she'll watch this video. Almost, her and I speak pretty much on a daily basis. She sends me all kinds of funny videos, and she's in pretty good spirits right now. And I think it was a good Christmas present for all of them. Maria, Annie, Virginia, with Ghislaine staying in jail, right? That's all they really wanted, and that's what they got. And I think it's definitely a good thing, because Lord knows she should not be out of jail, okay? No way, no how. I don't care how much money you have. So, yeah. It's just wild, though, to see. It's wild to see how some people are... I don't even know what it is. It's like... people are, like, jealous or something. I don't know the proper word to describe it. But people are, like, wilding out, like... when they make it about money, especially. Oh, these girls are getting paid out. Bro, can you imagine? If this was my kid, I don't care how much money they're getting paid out. All the years of suffering, there's not enough money on earth that makes it okay. But yet you still have some people out here wilding out, still going on and on about, prostitution, they got paid off. Well, bro, what is wrong with people? It's like they're suffering from CTE, right? Like all of them have brain injuries that they're suffering from. No, you're right, Anna, they don't. And, people look at the internet and they're like, well, this is the internet. I could say whatever I want. And those are the people that have never had to face repercussions for the way they carry themselves or for the things they say. Because if you talk like that in real life, you're bound to run into somebody who's going to shut your mouth. I promise you, with my big mouth, I've ran into many people who have shut it for me. Trust me when I tell you. So if you run your mouth in real life, you are going to get it shut. But on the internet, it's easy for them to say whatever they want, right? Oh, I know, Angela, it's crazy. It's crazy. They believe it's like a money grab. Like the money is going to make this shit better for these girls. No, that's not the case. What it does is it gives them a jump off point so they can start to rebuild maybe. All of their dreams, all of their aspirations, everything crushed by these people. And there's no amount of money that can fix that. And anybody who doesn't understand that is willfully not understanding that. It's cognitive dissonance being played out in front of our eyes, right? Yeah, for sure, Corey. They don't get it. I mean, just so they don't understand. They don't understand what it's like to live in a world with real repercussions. You get it. Me and Corey know each other in real life. I've known Corey for 20 years now or so. So Corey understands what I'm talking about here. He understands that I'm not somebody that's I'm just sit around, run my mouth, run my yap without. I understand that in the real world, there's repercussions for that. And these people who get on the internet and they say foul ass things to people, it's just, I don't understand it. I'll never understand it. I honestly will never understand it. Twitter is such a den of scum and villainy. And people act like Twitter is the voice of the people. It's not. It's the loudest, most ignorant, most times, of us. Not the real people who matter, I guess I should say. Because everyone has big opinions, right? But how many of these people are putting those opinions into motion and doing something with those opinions? It's easy to talk trash about Jen and Lisa over at the Prince and the Pervert podcast. Or it's easy to trash somebody else's content when you aren't even trying to make any, when you're sitting around all day with butter on your fingers from eating popcorn and talking shit on Reddit. It's real easy to have an opinion. But it's a lot harder to actually take action and stand up for what you believe in. And some people are just, you know how people are, they're miserable. And they're so miserable that they think it's okay to bully somebody with cancer even. No Joe Exotic news as of late, besides that article I read about the end of the year, the end of the year wrap up about his nonsense. But no news really. We've been pretty slow lately. There's a new article out today about Judge Nathan and her ruling and what was behind the ruling of no bail. I'm probably going to save that for tomorrow morning because we're rocking and rolling in a marathon style right here. So I'll do that one tomorrow morning. But as far as the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family, besides him being an epic moron, a liar, obviously not allergic to horses, obviously he can sweat, obviously his fingers are his fingers. Besides all of that, no new news. You know, Joy, I'm not too sure. It seems like there's like factions of people who are involved in this case. And you have some groups of people who are, you know, they want to argue all the time. People want to talk shit about these people or that people. You know, it's crazy. I don't know who, you know, there's that whole paid troll thing. I don't know how much weight I put into that. Some people act like everyone's a paid troll, but I don't know. I don't even block people on Twitter. I really don't care what some wild ass stranger has to say to me, right? I just don't give a shit, so. Oh, I know, that's ridiculous, the horse allergy, right? And what did he do, go to a woods witch? What did he go to, over to the Isle of Man during a full moon, cover himself in blood, and howl at the sky while some witch performed a ritual to make him sweat again? That's so ridiculous. These people are so ridiculous. Yeah, hey, Rob, you know what? I think that the new anti-money laundering legislation that is put on the books is a good first step. I think that that's definitely a good first step for us to get a baseline on how we get shit cracking off with these people to get them thrown in prison. The financial institutions can't get the fine and that's the end of it, right? We should give the financial institution gets the fine. Then the person in charge goes to prison, and then they have to pay restitution on top of that. Same way my loved ones had to when they went to prison. Oh, over gambling, by the way. So these dudes always skate, right? They never have to pay restitution and shit. They're like, oh yeah, the shareholders, they're going to pay the fine anyway. What does it matter? It's a free for all. Come on, Epstein. Let's go launder some money. And then they act like it's no big deal. All these shell companies everywhere for all of these years. All of our rich people in the country pretty much are involved in it. And I can't even blame them, right? As scummy as they are, and as much as I want to punch them all in the head, the real problem is the politicians who put these laws on the books for these assholes to find the loopholes. And that's the reason these people are installed in the first place. Because they can be manipulated by their bagmen. How much... I mean, do we really need more proof of that? Oh, the art. Forget the art. The art world's the worst. The art world is the absolute worst. I'll tell you what, Anna. I'll take the problems that come with mo money, please. All right? I'll take some mo money. That would be all right. I'll take those problems that come along with it. If I had mo money, you know who would have mo problems? These so-called elite, that's for sure. Because I would be hounding these people. Hounding them. And everybody who's named in these court documents anyway, right? I wouldn't wild out on people on the outskirts or any of that. That's not my MO. But these people that are named in the documents, these people need to get blown up. They need to get lit up and they need to be put on blast. Because they've been skating by all of these years and nobody's put them on blast. We don't even talk about Pritzker, really. Another guy that Virginia alleges abused her. or the fact that she's one of the billionaires that donated a bunch of money to the Biden campaign. So her family member is allegedly someone who abused Virginia, but she donates a bunch of money to the Biden campaign. And we're supposed to think that the Biden campaign's going to go hard after this? I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. Hey, not coming, Rob. That shit got deposited already. Imagine that. I'm never first in line for anything good. All of a sudden, I get that money deposited in my account. I couldn't believe it. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop and for the IRS to send me a letter on top of it. Usually I'm the guy last in line, right? Oh yeah, your check got lost in the mail. The alien dog ate it at Area 51 when we sent it to the wrong spot. You're gonna have to go up to the nuclear testing range and get your check. That's where we have it waiting for you, you dumbass. And then I say to myself, man, you shouldn't have been yelling and screaming about taxation as theft your whole life. These guys are on to you. So finally got my, so I'll take that 600, no doubt about it. I mean, I hope they enjoy the rest of my tax dollars around the world, but the 600, I guess, that's better than a kick in the ass and a sharp stick in the eye. So I'll take it. Hey, yeah, I'm still going, Tanya. There's a marathon. I'm over here. It's like 8:30 at night. I'm drinking Starbucks energy drinks and shit. I'm wilding out, Oh, no, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I should have been doing this a long time ago. I should be engaging more, but it's not really my skis, right? I don't know. I'm a pretty introverted person, honestly, dude. I'm a pretty introverted person, so like all of this kind of stuff is new to me, and it's not something that I'm like really used to. So we're going to start doing this more often, though. Like I said on the podcast, maybe every Sunday. Maybe we'll do like an hour every Sunday.
At Ease, we're all about calculating the best high for you. Ran out of shows to watch for the second time this week? Order an indica pre-roll. Social distance park hang, pair that awkward picnic with a vaporizer. See, we're like your weed guy, but 420% nerdier. So just worry about when you're going to take that edible and let us do the rest. Ease, highly calculated cannabis delivery. Get 30% off your first order with promo code NERD at ease.com. That's EAZE.com.
Rogue Nicotine on Demand. Delivered direct to your door. Available in all your favorite flavors and formats. Pouches, gum, wintergreen, peppermint, and more. From your Monday morning coffee to watching hoops to dinner at the in-laws, Rogue Nicotine is there for you when you need it. Visit roguenicotine.com today and save 10% when you place your order for sugar-free, fast-acting Rogue Nicotine. Underage sales prohibited. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. For more information, visit roguenicotine.com.
Where we all get together, shoot the shit, chop it up, and see where we're at in the case, because I rely on a lot of you to, with the emails and stuff. You guys send me great articles, and even if I don't respond to the emails, I try to, don't get me wrong, but the articles you guys send me are awesome, and it helps add context, and you guys are the best. Oh, Tarnia, you're the best. Thank you. Like I always say, the most important thing that you guys give me is your life minutes, right? Of course, donations to the GoFundMe or the PayPal are always nice. Helps keep the lights on. Time is money. There's no doubt about it. But for me, that's really has never been my goal in this enterprise. If I wanted to make money, believe me, there's a lot more fruitful outlets for me to be pursuing right now. Hey, Rob, I did get your email, bro. I certainly did get your email, and I've been meaning to send you a response to it. I actually I have it saved as a draft, so I'm going to send that to you tonight. Expect that email. As soon as I get done with this, I'm going to send that over. Yeah, again, it's just at this point, I'm so invested into this that, I got to see it through. And I can't lie, it was a lot easier before the shutdown. When Carrie she was also working at one of the Strip properties as a cocktail waitress for a long time, part of the union and all of that stuff. So when everything got shut down and she was furloughed, she's still furloughed from that job, by the way, it did take a significant amount of our resources away. But we've had time to adjust, and we've had time to, move things around and adjust our eating out habits and stuff like that. So we've been lucky, right? I consider myself lucky. I have a place to live. I have a roof over my head. I have lights. I have food, and I have some money to do what I want to do whenever I want to do it. So I consider myself lucky right now, right? But as far as like donations to the podcast, and there was a period of time where I just stopped talking about it because I knew everybody was in dire straits. I knew everybody was feeling the burn. And again, it's never been about that for me. It's never been about, oh, let me make a podcast because I think I can make money doing it. Let me just stop you all before you think that's the case. If you're trying to do something to make money, a podcast is not it. It takes a long time to build up to a point where you're making any money at all. Luckily, I'm at a point where I have some commercials via my platform, and I get some money from the advertisement revenue there. But as far as like making big money, that ain't me. Now, some other content creators that are getting, hundreds of thousands of views for their YouTube content, they're bringing in big money, no doubt about that. But I've never really delved into the whole YouTube thing yet. One of these days. Okay, yeah, I could explain that, Deirdre, no doubt. So here's how I started working at Cantor Fitzgerald. I was the stage manager at the Joint, and I had enough of working in live entertainment. I wanted to do something different, and I had always been interested in sports gambling. I'm Italian, right? You know what they say about Italians. The only two people you have on speed dial when you're Italian, your mother and your bookie. So I've always been interested in sports gambling. It's a rite of passage, basically, in my family. So I said to myself, you know what? Maybe I'll transfer into the sports book and just get a ticket writer's job. I'll just take bets and I'll have no responsibilities. I don't care if I'm taking a huge pay cut. It's something I want to do. I think it'll be fun. So hell, I'm going to do it. What better time than now? So I transferred into the sports book at the Hard Rock where I was working at the time. And then 2 months later, the sports book was sold off to a company called Cantor Fitzgerald. Now, I really didn't know too much about Cantor Fitzgerald at the time. I knew that they were a Wall Street firm, and I knew that their company had pretty much been wrecked by 9/11. The plane, one of the planes, basically hit the company's floors on 9/11, and just about everybody was killed in the whole entire company, like 800 people or something like that. So I had known about Cantor Fitzgerald from that, but I really wasn't too hip to anything else. Well, they buy the sports book, and they decide that they were going to retain me and keep me on to, help them transition. So I'm there for 2 months. I get promoted to a supervisor's job. Didn't want it, by the way. The whole point of leaving the Joint was to get out of management. But I can't be given orders by stupid people. And this fat yap of mine that's covered in all this hair, it doesn't stop running when people are being stupid. So I ended up getting promoted to supervisor, and then shortly after that, manager. And by that point, I was running the whole sports book and helping out manage a couple of others. And it was an absolute eye-opening experience working for a Wall Street firm. The cutthroat attitude that was exhibited by Cantor Fitzgerald's, the corporate office, was unconscionable, the way they tried to make me manage that sports book. So, of course, I did whatever I wanted, right? What are you going to do? You're in New York. There's nobody even here to tell me what to do. So I'll show up and I'll manage this place the way I want to do it. And for the most part, they left me alone. But it's funny to look back now at who my boss was over there. And that person is Howard Lutnick. Who is his next door neighbor? Jeffrey Epstein. Boy, don't we live in a small world. So my job as the manager at Cantor Fitzgerald was I facilitated all of the bets. I oversaw all of the writers, the supervisors. I made sure all of the big players were set up, and I was in charge of all of the financials, the books, P&Ls, you name it. every single time somebody would come in to make a big bet, it would be my job to make sure they were all locked and loaded. Make sure I had their ID on file, make sure they had a W-9 on file, make sure that, they weren't up to any tomfoolery with structuring. And that was my gig. I was an overpaid and overrated babysitter, basically, who was in charge of making sure a bunch of crybaby gamblers didn't structure their wagers. That was basically my whole job. And the way we went about our business was unlike everybody else. We treated the sports market like it was the stock market. And we were taking huge bets. I'm talking nobody else would take what we would take. I was taking $200,000-$300,000 bets on a halftime game. And I was giving anyone who walked in off the street a $100,000 limit to bet on a game. And if you know anything about Vegas, you know that never happens. The sports book isn't the kind of place where they make money or want to take risks. But CG, like I'm saying here, they ran it like it was a Wall Street firm, and they were going crazy. So it was exciting for me. We were all making moves. I was dealing with people like Floyd Mayweather. I was dealing with actors, professional athletes, you name it. I had them coming into my sports book. So it was cool as hell. It was a wild ride. But the company itself, Cantor Fitzgerald, is an absolute dumpster fire. My boss, who was in charge of the whole entire operation, ended up getting arrested for running a bookmaking operation on the side. So it was the wild, wild west, right? And when I tell you they ran it just like the stock market, that's how they ran it. I mean, the drugs, it was insane. It was an insane situation. But it was fun, I'll tell you that much. What's up, Lisa? Welcome to the party, my favorite podcaster from Australia. Yeah, look, Corey, there's all kinds of crazy, wild-ass stories I could tell you, bro, about beards and people acting as runners. They would come in and bet for people like Billy Walters, and they would act like it was their money. I'd be like, look, bro, you're wearing a $20 off-the-rack Burlington blazer right now and a pair of 1927 jeans. You ain't betting $200,000. Who you bearding for? And that's the kind of conversations I'd have with these dudes. I mean, you know me. I'd be straight up with these dudes. I don't believe that's your money. Sorry, I don't buy it. And I would save everybody a lot of trouble with that kind of behavior, honestly, because the paperwork is ridiculous. All of these SARs and stuff. I would write these SARs. It would take like 45 minutes for me to get these SARs done, and then I'd send them off, and nobody would ever even pay attention to them. So what's the point? I'd rather just throw you out and not take your bet. So that's how I would roll. I'd be like, beat it. Nope. See you later. Go. Nope. I want to talk to the boss. I am the boss. You're in trouble. You're shit out of luck now. MC, what's going on? Sydney. God, I love Sydney. I got to get to Australia. My Australian listeners are awesome. You folks are just rad down there, down under. Carrie and I are coming down, and I have to have some kind of interaction with a kangaroo. Can someone make this happen? I mean, you guys come to Vegas, I got you hooked up. I need interaction with a kangaroo. I mean, right, I'm not saying, it doesn't have to be long, or, I want to give it like a high five, or what do they eat? Can I feed it something? I want to feed it something. And if there's one of them big-ass buff ones, maybe go around with it, Slip a couple of jabs, toss a couple at them maybe, I've seen those videos. Yes, I'm coming to Australia. Imagine I go to box a kangaroo, it'll probably whip my ass. I'm getting old. Hey, they're always posted in the description box of the episodes, Joy. I'm not too sure how all the different platforms are, but if you go directly to Spreaker for sure, and you click on the link there, you can find it right there on Spreaker in the description box. I'll take a look on Spotify and see if I could find a place to put it as well. Oh, Lisa, it's on, man. Me and Carrie are coming to Australia whenever they get rid of this crazy-ass virus, and I'm feeding kangaroos, and I'm looking at sharks from a safe distance, like from a pier or some shit. I seen that movie Open Water 3 in the shark cage. I'm cool on that. Well, I can see that. I'd probably want to pass on the chlamydia with the koala bears as well, Rob. So that's probably a safe path you're choosing there, my friend. I'm down with the koala bear too. Oh, I know you folks have sharks. There's no doubt about that. I was watching a movie the other day called Open Water 3, I think, about these American knuckleheads who went over to Australia to do some kind of stupid show. And they go into this shark cage and a rogue wave hits the boat. And these morons are stuck in this cage with sharks everywhere. Count me out. Count me out. Let me be very clear, okay? I am very afraid to be eaten by anything. No sharks. No, thank you. I'll pass on the ocean. Oh, see, I don't worry about the snakes so much. We got our own snakes here. I live in the desert, so I got plenty of those sons of bitches. Every time I go to the mountains, they're everywhere. And we all know that we're dealing with bipedal serpents on a regular basis as far as Ghislaine goes, so... Yeah, I can get down with some moose and bears. See, with the bears, it's cool. I'll just hike with somebody slower than me. As long as you're slower than me when we're hiking, I don't got to worry about the bears because I'll run and you're going to have to deal with the bears. I'm sorry, every man for himself, right? I'm certainly not getting eaten by a bear. That's not occurring. I wonder if a bear has ever been rear naked choked. I see roadrunners every single day when I go to the mountains, Lisa. No joke. Next time I'm up there, I'll take a picture. Them sons of bitches are all over the place. In fact, when we go to get Carrie's eyelashes done at her lady, she lives all the way out kind of by Lake Mead. There's like a family of roadrunners all the time running across the road. Right across the road. Everywhere. Yeah, no doubt, Corey. Everywhere, right? Shit, when you on that golf course you used to live on, when we used to come over to hang out, you used to have a bunch of roadrunners over there too. And, no pun intended, coyotes. No, they don't seem to be pests. They're pretty cool. They seem to be all right. I mean, I don't own like a farm or anything where they're like, I don't know, chew up your corn or something maybe. But as far as I know, they're not pests. They seem to be pretty decent little critters. I'll definitely take a picture. I'm probably going to go to the mountains tomorrow, so... Oh, dude, you had a ton of coyotes on that, golf course, bro, when we were growing up, when we would come out there. We'd take those walks at night and you'd hear them sons of bitches everywhere. Yeah, the desert has all kinds of cool creatures, Lisa. Vegas is a cool place, man. I'll tell you, it's, you only hear about the strip in Vegas, right? The bright lights, blah, 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 the big city. But about 45 minutes north of Las Vegas, or west, I guess you should say, it's just pristine mountains and beautiful open desert and all sorts of beautiful animals. So if you ever get a chance to get out to Vegas or anywhere in the American Southwest, I highly suggest it. It's a beautiful part of the world, a beautiful part of the country for sure. And there is a ton to do. Yeah, Red Rock that's the cathedral where I practice my religion on a daily basis. Without Red Rock, I honestly don't know what I would do with myself. There was a point in time where I was up there I was eating 80 miles a week. I was spending so much time training to do the PCT, and really the dream for me is Mount Everest. So I've always been working with those goals in mind. Hoover Dam is pretty amazing too. I mean, the fact that it was made when it was made and how it was made is mind-boggling. If you get a chance to go to Hoover Dam when you're in the area, you should check that out as well. Absolutely amazing. Thanks for popping in, Nicole. Thank you. I really appreciate you popping in and supporting the show. You've been steadfast in your support. Another one who's been supporting the show forever. Thank you so much for coming in. And like I said, we're going to do this more often. This isn't going to just be a one-off or something that we do tonight and then never do again. We'll keep doing it. It seems like folks are enjoying it. I'm having a great time. And I guess at the end of the day, that's all that matters, right? So we'll definitely do it again. And we'll keep adding it to the rotation. You know, Joy, I have not heard any reports of Epstein and Maxwell in Las Vegas. I have my finger pretty well on the pulse of the town, and I know a lot of executives on a lot of different casinos, and nobody has ever talked about them being here and being involved in anything smarmy. But who knows, right? I don't close the door on anything in this case. That's one thing I have learned is I do not close the door on anything. So if we could find anything about that, any information about that out, I'm definitely receptive to it, and I will most certainly look into it. Yeah, you know, Tarny, I wouldn't be shocked if we end up going into lockdown in Vegas here soon too. California is exploding with the virus right now, but Vegas is just a different kind of place because of the tourism, and we're already so destroyed that another shutdown literally might destroy Vegas and turn it into basically Barstow, but with nicer accommodations. So I don't know where we're at here. It's tough. It's a tough road to navigate for sure. You're welcome, Karen. Thank you for popping in. I appreciate you joining the show and hanging out with us and engaging. Nice. The PCT. I love it. My plan was a couple of years ago to go, but Carrie still wasn't fully recovered yet. And I didn't want to leave while she was still going through radiation treatments, God forbid. When I do something like the PCT, I'm going to need to have a clear mind. It's, 2,680 miles. And I'll be walking from Mexico to Canada. But when I do it this time, I'm going to be raising money. And I'm going to do it as to raise money for charities, for survivors in general, be it sexual assault or cancer or whatever. Christina, thank you. You're another one who has been a great supporter of the show. I really, 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 really appreciate all of you guys, man. It's awesome. I'm really, really thankful that we all have been able to get together like this tonight. And as we're doing this right now on the live feed here on Facebook, I'm also doing a live broadcast on Spreaker on the podcast platform. So we're going to keep rocking and rolling. I had a really good time doing this. I didn't know how I would take to the whole video thing too much. Like I said, I'm not somebody who's into it for the fame or the likes on Twitter or anything like that. I don't give a shit about all of that, really. What I care about is disseminating the truth as I see it to you folks, shooting you folks straight, and making sure that I can hold my head up high, knowing that I'm doing the best that I can do to tell the truth. Thanks, Sonia. It's crazy. It's been a wild ride. That's just the best way I can explain it. Just what everybody else has, MC. I don't have any deep information there. No secret information that I have some subscription that you have to buy to get it. I don't have any of that. But there's definitely a connection between Epstein and Gates. And I'd be very shocked if Nygaard and Epstein weren't fellow travelers. Now, I don't have proof of that right now. I can't point you in a direction that solidly says, oh, here you go, here's the connection. But what we have learned with people like this is they're always rolling together, right? guys like Nygaard and Epstein, they roll in the same circles. There's only a certain amount of people that are in their category. So they're all friendly. They're all rolling together. They're all going to dinner parties. They're all hanging out. So I wouldn't be shocked if there's ties with Nygaard and Epstein. With Gates, 100%. There are 100% ties. But how deep they go, I guess that's the question. And that is the thread to be pulled on. See, there you go. Lisa and Jen, they do a lot of digging and a lot of hard work and a lot of good journalism. And right there, the chauffeur was the same. And while it's not, a big time link, it is something that should be explored. I haven't seen that if anyone's approached Rebecca Borgerson, and that's certainly nothing I would do. I feel bad for her, dude. I can't even imagine. Imagine this getting left by your husband for this bipedal serpent. How that must make you feel every night when you go to sleep. Somebody you gave up all them years of your life to, you have children with, that you're connected to forever because of these kids. So I don't know if anyone has reached out to her. I certainly am not going to do that. As you all know, I'm pretty weird about that stuff involving people's families or kids or anything like that. That's not me. I don't do that shit. Yeah, exactly. I imagine how those poor kids feel. I don't want to hear, oh, they love Ghislaine. They're broken up about her going to yeah, right. I highly doubt it. I'm not a psychologist by any means. As you all know, I'm a lunatic myself. But let's be real. These kids, they love Ghislaine Maxwell, the bipedal serpent who strolls into their life and ruins it. It's absolutely gross. Absolutely gross. So I hope that these kids aren't suffering from psychological damage from all of this. I mean, they might be, right? Again, I don't know one way or the other, but you would think something like this is bad. Yeah, that's how she spells it. Cimberly with a C. Yep, 100%. Yeah, mine too, Lisa. It's really sad. It's like, I say to myself, how in the hell does this guy leave his family for Ghislaine Maxwell, leave his kids, and then put all of this money up? You don't have nothing put away for your children? All that hard work you did before you became Ghislaine Maxwell's meat puppet? You don't have nothing for your children, huh? I'm sure Don Corleone would really enjoy a conversation with you. Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like that's the case with a lot of these people, right? Their children are pawns. They bring their children into these cases, and then they expect sympathy because, oh, their children are involved, or, whatever it may be. But I don't think people are buying that anymore. I don't think people are going to accept that. Angela, thank you so much. Your mask, I'm sending your mask out to you tomorrow, by the way. So be expecting that bad boy to come soon. And for everybody else, I have a few of these bad boys. So this is the one I'm going to be sending out to Angela. One of those fancy Epstein didn't kill himself masks that you see me rocking every now and then. I had a few made up for some of you listeners. Some of you folks that have been so supportive of the show and stuff. And then I had some of these made up as well, in case there are some of you out there that would maybe want some of these Vegas Strong masks. So I'll get some of these bad boys sent out to you folks as well as a thank you. So, all right, everybody. I think we're going to wrap it up here. We're going on, 114 minutes of all sorts of chatting and talking and conversating and engaging. So I just want to thank everybody for joining me. I want to thank you all for taking the time to sit here with me my beard, my loud mouth, and chat, get to know each other a little bit more, and dive into this case, because I feel like I know all of you, like you're my friends at this point. We spend so much time together that I honestly feel like if we walked into a place and met for the first time, we'd all just start getting it in, have some drinks, whatever it may be, and it would just be a gas. So I really appreciate all of you. Thank you all for your support. Thank you all for everything, really. And honestly, thank you guys for going so hard in this case and wanting justice so bad, because it's that important. I honestly believe it's that important. And I wouldn't spend all this time doing this if I didn't feel that way. So thank you guys very much. Happy New Year. I'm glad we got to do this finally to end the year. And it's something we're going to continue to do. If you folks are interested in one of those masks, shoot me an email or send me a message or leave a message on this post. And the first few people that leave me a message, I'll send out what I have to them. And then if it's something that you folks are still interested in, I could get some more made up and, get some more sent out and stuff like that, because it's the least I can do with all of the support that you folks have shown me. So with that, we're going to close this bad boy out. We're going to wrap it up, tie a little bow on it. I'm going to go upstairs, play some video games perhaps, and then get ready to start all over again tomorrow morning with the article about Judge Nathan and why she ruled against Ghislaine Maxwell. So until then, everybody, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all of that jazz. For those of you that are stuck in a lockdown right now, hang in there. We're going to get through this shit. I'll be here with you guys. I know it's not much, but I'll be here to help you guys through with the boredom. And, if any of you guys ever need to reach out, need somebody to talk to, I'm here. Like I said, I look at all of you as friends at this point, so don't hesitate. All right, everybody, thank you so much. And remember, 2020 was the year that the predator turned into the prey. All right, folks. Well, that's a wrap. We will be back tomorrow.
Is eating fish healthy? Certainly not for the fish, and most definitely not for the oceans. That's the reason the Sarno brothers, founding chefs at Good Catch Foods, began perfecting 100% plant-based seafood. They wanted sustainable options that are respectful of all creatures and don't harm our oceans. Ask your grocer for Good Catch foods like tuna and crab cakes, or shop online at goodcatchfoods.com. Then, host your own Fishless Friday and feel good about every bite. Try Good Catch Foods for 100% plant-based seafood that is truly off the hook. Saving the ocean feels good, and the taste, delicious. Go to goodcatchfoods.com to learn more, or shop online.